Hello friends, it's Sherry from Turquoise Dreaming. How's everyone doing today? Welcome to my channel and I hope you're having a good day. I'm here working on Roxy's weekly challenge, which was this past week's, last Monday. This is probably going to be published on Monday, and so she's going to have a new one out today, but I'm just doing last week's. So what Rachel did was some like snippets or clusters where she was slow stitching, little pieces of fabric together, and those were awesome. But you know how I like to do my own thing and do my little spin on whatever she's doing. So what I did was I decided to do the, little clusters or whatever of fabric, but do them in a different way. So Rachel was the inspiration behind this. And then my friend that sent me this in the Happy Mail quite a while ago now, but it's like a little kind of snippet roll or snippet strip, whatever you want to call it. And it was longer, but I've been using pieces of it. And I like how this was because I've been able to cut pieces off of it, if you know what I mean. So like I put I cut 3 pieces off, so you can picture that right there. I cut 3 pieces off and used it as a tab in my recent garden journal that I did, the binder. And so I put this on a page. I'm trying to think if I sewed it. I think I did sew it on the side of a fold out page. I sewed it on the fold out part that as a tab, and then I added a little charm right here, and it was so cute. And this is, I've been, kind of like not using it too much because this is all I have left. But I thought, well, I guess it's time for me to make some. So when I saw Rachel's video, it reminded me of this, and I always have it handy here in case I want to snip off a piece, right? But I kind of examined this more closely when I sat down here at my table. Got my sewing machine over here, and I examined it like, how did my friend put this together, right? So, because I noticed I was starting to do it, and I was like, how did she hold the fabric on here and sew this onto, and it's paper back here instead of fabric. It's a piece of like brown paper, like almost like, I want to describe it as brown paper bag maybe, I don't know. But it's super cool because you can sew right through this. It's not so thick that you can't sew through it. But also if you want to glue it down, it's got this paper that would be super easy to glue down on a fold over, right? You don't have to sew it on. And it's already got stitching on there, so it looks like it's sewn, right? So after examining it, I realized my friend, must have sewn. See, there's some stitching this way and stitching this way. This way it's sewn onto the paper. There's just one stitch here. But I was like, oh, there's another stitch here. So she must have sewn each individual, not that she sewed it individually, but she sewed across, and that kept it together. And then she sewed it onto this paper with one straight stitch down, and it was done with the sewing machine. So I said, well, let me see, because I had started to do it, and I said, well, let me think about this. And what I decided to do was I was putting my little, there's 4 layers. It looks like my friend did 4 layers on each of these pieces here. So I got out my little bag of, scraps here, and I did 4 layers like she did. And then I just put one by one under my sewing machine. So I put this one in, sewed it through. And so that I wouldn't have to keep stopping and starting, I put another one. I got another 4 layers ready and put that one through. And I kept going all the way until I got all the way down here. Now these are bigger, yes. But this is not going to go on one thing, This is going to be cut apart and used on, as I showed you, like 2 or 3 or whatever. I could put it on a page. Maybe I need 5 or whatever. Like right now, this is a great, perfect length to put on the side of a page as a little kind of trim, right? So I did the one where I got all these sewn together now. So if I want to put it on a piece of paper now, so it's easier to, see how it's kind of all floppy right now. So I have a strip. I pulled this long strip. I wasn't sure how long of a strip I would need. It's just some paper that was in my And it's kind of thick paper. It's not real thin paper, but it's not cardstock. And so I folded it in half. I thought I'd just, instead of cutting it, I would just fold it in half and I'd have a nice strong piece of paper underneath these little clusters. And I would, you know, sew this onto there. So trying to keep with, you know, the 2 videos that I've watched where I'm doing Roxy's weekly challenge and kind of doing my own thing and doing it like my friend did it. I'm going to now, since I sewed these apart together, I'm going to now cut them apart. So I think this is maybe what my friend did. I know I never really asked her how she did them, but see, that just snips right apart. So that's what we're going to do real quick. We're going to snip these apart. I mean, maybe this is not, I like it because it keeps them all together. I like the cross. If you don't want the cross, you could just have sewn this onto paper and you wouldn't have to do the second step that I'm doing now. So you could just have the one stitch down the middle, but I want to try it like my friend did it and see how I like it. You know, I mean, I loved using hers, so why not try it? You know, maybe after I do this, I'll be like, well, you know, that took a long time. I could have just had it done all in one stitch there. So, but I just really like how hers was, and I like the stitching too. You know, the more, you know, the stitching just adds a lot to it. So we're snipping all these little parts, you know, these little clusters apart now, and we're going to sew them together. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it here on my sewing machine and see how it turns out. Now, I haven't done this before, so here's all my little clusters right here. Let's see, I've got one over here, because at first I did it separate and I was like, well, that's silly to do each one separate. Why don't I just run them through, you know, all together? So that's what happened, how that happened. So now, let's see now. So here's my sewing machine. I've got black thread in here. So now I would turn it. So see, I sewed this way before on my long string. So I'm going to turn it this way so I have stitching the other way. And I would put it on here. And I don't know if I need to glue it down first or like hold it down here with a clip or something. Or can I just hold on to it and run it through my sewing machine? So I think you can see my sewing machine pretty good right here. So I think I'm going to try holding it, because that's all I did before with when I sewed them together like I just showed you. So I'm going to make sure I have it turned the right way and just start sewing here down the center of this paper, holding these on here. I'm just doing one straight stitch down, and I'm going to put one on at a time. If you want to glue them, well, you know what? Let me think about this for a second. What's the smartest way to do this? Probably the fastest way to do would be to go ahead and glue them down. You know what? That would be the fastest way to do it, probably, and the less fiddly way. So let's try that. Let me grab, I don't think I need like Fabri-Tac. I just want to hold it down. Let me see. I'm looking for my craft bond here, because that's permanent glue. I just want to see how this holds it down and experiment here a little bit. So we're going to, does this go on fabric at all? I haven't really tried this on fabric before, I don't think. So let's see how this holds it on here. Make sure my stitching is going the opposite way. Okay, that is kind of holding it on there. So that might be the easiest way. So I want this, let me move this on my little scraps over here for the moment. I've got them, as I was looking at them, I started separating them into colors, and I had some neutrals in here. I thought I might do another one like this with neutrals. I think that would be cool to have a colorful one and a neutral one. These are my little scraps here. That's my little tiny scrap bag. I have several scrap bags of fabric. Let's see, what is this? This is a paper scrap. Okay, so let's see. Here's all my little sewn together pieces. Let's just do this together and take a minute to do this. Hopefully this would be the smartest way to do it. Make sure I put glue on the right side, because I put the underside of the fabric and then layered on top of that. So let's see if we can. If it doesn't seem like it's sticking, I might just do it how I was going to do it. but this one is stuck down pretty good. So I'm going to put it where the next piece is kind of touching but not overlapping, like my friend did on hers, so that I can snip in between when I want to cut this, and it won't be cutting off any fabric. Because on hers, see how you can see the paper there a little bit, but it doesn't really matter because it's just kind of brown paper and you don't really care because it looks like it looks like it belongs there. And this is a kind of a neutral piece of paper here. That's why I didn't pick a bright, you know, because I have bright colored scrapbook paper in there in my scrap bin, and I could have picked that, but I was like, well, that would show up too much underneath the fabric. If I want to use this somewhere, I might not be able to because I have that bright you know, fabric showing through. So I wanted to show you, I would have done this before the video, but I wanted to show you how I sewed it together there and then cut it apart. So I hope you don't mind. This could take a minute here since I decided to glue these down like this, but I'm watching which way my stitches are all going horizontal now since we cut them apart. And let's see, so we don't have to do the whole bunch, but I would like to, just so we can see how it comes out. And let me see, I kind of want to put the bigger ones up here and then get smaller as we go down. So here's, this is small, this is bigger. Okay, so yeah, I've really been enjoying the challenge of Roxy's weekly challenge because we do something different every week, and she's been using a lot of things that we all need to use up, right? Our paper scraps, our book pages, our fabric scraps. It's just I wanted to see if I could do this also a little quicker than trying to, whoops, that goes the other way. Trying to slow stitch because hers was involving kind of just stitching by hand each piece, you know, and that's good, but I wanted to try this, so I'm just doing it this way. All right, so see, that's all my big pieces. I did put a couple small ones up here, but that's okay. These are 3 small ones, and then these are all the bigger pieces, and that'll work out in the end when I end up snipping this apart when I actually use it in a journal, right? So you can add little buttons to this later, charms, little metal pieces, whatever you have in your stash that would be, you know, something you'd put on top of a piece of, like a cluster or a piece of fabric to decorate. Little silk flowers, those ribbon flowers I picked up recently at the thrift store. Those would be perfect, you know, anything like that. That would be so. Oops, I don't, that's a pink one. I remember I put those together. I was like, I do not want to put those together, 2 pink ones together, you know, and I didn't try to match when I was putting these little clusters together. I didn't try to match them or anything, and that's what my friend did, and I really like how hers turned out. None of the little pieces match or anything. You just pick up fabrics and put them together and then sew them together, you know. No trying to match or anything. So, and it comes out so cool. All right, this is kind of a big one, but that's all right. Oh, I can't believe I filled up this whole thing. I didn't think I would. I was like, I'm just going to stop here. I don't need to fill up the whole thing, but look, I am. Just by coincidence, I filled up this whole little piece of strip of paper. Isn't that funny how that works out sometimes? You don't even realize you picked the exact right amount and it works out when you didn't even really count or anything. Okay, so there, look at that, how perfect that is. Can you believe that? I can't even believe that. Okay, so there we go. Let me show you. Isn't that cool looking? See all the colors, and Isn't that cool looking? Okay, so you see how I have all my horizontal stitches here now, and I'm going to turn it and sew this way, and then I'll show you how it looks. Isn't this cool? So we're just going to sew this. I'm not going to go too fast or anything. I want to make sure. Let me see. I think my needle's down a little bit. Get it under my needle. I got a straight stitch going on here. Someone, the last time I used this sewing machine, somebody asked me if I did a review on it, and I never have. It's fairly new, and I've only used it a few times. I have my other sewing machine over there that I usually use, and this one's for videos, believe it or not, because I don't want to move that one around. But I do love it. It's a basic brother. My other one is the Project Runway, so it has all the stitches that you just push the numbers, and you have like lots and lots of stitches. This one has all the stitches on a knob. The reverse is right here. You know, it's pretty much does the same thing. The only thing I wish it had that one has that this one doesn't have is a needle threader. I love the needle threader over there, and this one it does not have a needle threader. So I wish it did. I wish they would have just, you know, added $5 or whatever to the price and put a needle threader on here. But otherwise, I love this one too. It's a great starter. You know, and just a quick little. I also bought it in case I need to take a sewing machine with me somewhere on a trip, and so this would be the one I would bring. So anyway, that's my review. All right, let's go. Let's sew, guys. Let's sew. I'm going right down the middle, or at least that's my plan. Go right down the middle of this paper. So we'll see how I do. I do like to sew on my journals, my tags, my journal cards. You know, I just like the look of the stitching. So anything I can sew, I usually do. I usually do. I really just like. Ever since I started sewing in journals and I got my craft room where I could set up my sewing machine, I just sew on whatever. I just run back and forth to my sewing machine over there. Okay, I got a piece of popping up here, so let me poke that under my presser foot. Keep on going. So you can see how this works, the sewing machine too, in case you're looking for a sewing machine. And I picked out this color. I waited till they had this color at, I got it at Walmart, 76 bucks. You can't beat that for a sewing machine, plus tax. So, yeah, if you need a basic starter sewing machine for someone, $76 at Walmart will get you this. Just wait for them to have this color if you want this color. I had to get this color, right? Turquoise or whatever, aqua, whatever color this is. It's very pretty. Worth waiting for. All right, I did back stitch at the end there. Just, you know, I like to have that little support at the end. So, and let's see, it pulls right out. No problem. So, I will show you the end result here. So, yes, thank you, my friend who sent me that cluster strip. It's so cool, and now I have made one. Here's hers, and here's mine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love it. Well, I love how this turned out. So I think it was worth it, guys. I think it was worth doing the little cross. Can you see? Let me show you up close. See the cross? And so if you didn't want to do that part that I did at first, you could have just made your, see, but you need to hold the good thing about that cross is it holds all your 4 pieces together. You know, if you didn't have that holding your 4 pieces together, you would kind of be like, trying to get it under your sewing machine and trying to keep it all together. So that alone was worth doing the little cross on the, you know, piece where I sewed all the pieces together and then cut them apart and put them on here. So anyway, I might, if you want me to do another one on camera or just do it off camera, for the neutrals, here's all my little laces I have pulled out so far. So I would like to add some neutral pieces to, you know, my little neutral, you know, scraps here and make a neutral one next, maybe. Because now I have this one and I can cut it apart. I don't want to really cut it apart right now, but just picture if I cut these 3 off by themselves or cut a strip of however long a page might be, and just picture this on it, or you could actually put a couple pieces or even 3 pieces on the top of a tag, you know, just picture that. So there's so many uses, and here's the back. You know, now I can just glue this right down or even sew it down again, put another stitch through, and there you go. So many uses and so cute. So anyway, that's my Roxy's Weekly Challenge in my version this week. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope you all make one. Let me know if you're going to try it. And if you do try it, you know, let me know too. So thanks for watching today, and I'll see y'all next time in the next video, and happy crafting.